Hey there. I just finished reading a very underrated book, and it's called Call an Audible by Daron K Roberts. And in order to understand the book in full, we need to understand a little bit more about Daron and where he was and how he got to the place where he started writing the book. So Daron got his JD from Harvard Law, and actually he applied many years in a row to try and get there. He was very insistent and persistent about getting an opportunity at Harvard, and that's a theme that kind of continues in the book. But kind of long story short, in his last year at law school, he decided he didn't want to be a lawyer and he would rather be a professional football coach. So he tossed all of that years of schooling and all of kind of his preparation aside and decided that he was going to follow his dream to be a professional football coach, which is admirable, but he was starting at ground zero all over again. And that's kind of where this book starts, is right at that transition from him deciding to pursuing being an NFL coach. And there are a few themes in the book and a few lessons that I really want to touch on here. I can't cover it all, but I really encourage you to read the book to get the full explanation idea because there's a lot of value packed into it. But the first idea is this concept of getting in the building. So even when it came to him finding a job in the NFL, he needed to just get in the building. He needed to get his chance. And surprisingly, even an unpaid internship is way more competitive than you'd expect. And what he did was, during a break in his law school, he reached out to every NFL team, all defensive coordinators, all across the board, and just trying to get a gig. And it was that just brunt outreach that was able to give him an opportunity to work with the Kansas City Chiefs. Unpaid, internship, 18-hour days, but that's what he wanted to do. And he was able to pursue it. And the importance of getting in the building is once you're there, you can climb the ladder. You can get where you need to go, but it's all about getting to that starting point because you're not going to be able to climb unless you start at the bottom. And that's what he did. Another part of getting to the building is something that he did later in the book after he kind of established himself a little bit. It's kind of political who ends up traveling on the football coaching staff side. And the first road trip, he didn't get the invite. He didn't make the list. But he wanted to be known as a person that belonged there. So he wanted to get in the building. Quite literally, he paid his own way to Houston, which was their first away game, and he smooth talked through some security guards, and he went to the equipment guys and got the coaching outfit that he was supposed to have, and he just acted like he belonged, and everyone acted like he belonged because he made the effort and he got in the building. And then, throughout the rest of the book, he was asked to go on these road trips because he belonged, and he asserted that for himself. So it's all about getting in the building and kind of having that perception of belonging. Another theme in the book is about being over-prepared. And there's a really cool quote. It's, you need to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And I just love that idea because you never know when you're going to be asked to, kind of execute on that major breakthrough. And you just need to be ready to seize the moment. And there are a few things that he did to over-prepare and constantly be ready. So one thing he always had was an extra pen. In case the coach forgot a pen, he wanted to be the guy with the solution, to be able to hand it out. And he also had a notepad so that anytime something came up, and he would take diligent notes even when he wasn't asked to because he wanted to be that guy that was ready to have an answer if someone asked a question. And then that also transitioned into some of the mundane tasks he had as kind of the grunt in the organization. He was the copy guy. All the coaches asked him to print out flyers and hand them out to the team. And when he got those orders, he decided to make 1.5 times what he was asked just because he wanted to have more than the coach asked for in case something happened. He wanted to be flexible. And I think there was a lot of value in that because there were times when he was able to provide something a coach asked without them expecting it. And that just really stood out. And it was helped him become more dependable in the office. And then the kind of core concept too for over-preparing is it allows you to over-deliver. You can't be ready to execute unless you're prepared. And one thing that he really over-delivered on, which is his first real professional assignment was to put together an Adrian Peterson fumble compilation. He was a rookie, Daron was in his first year, and he had to get all of Adrian Peterson's college fumbles in one place. And instead of doing it on the time frame that was expected of him, I think he did it overnight. And he just over-delivered, and he could do that because he had all these systems in place, and he was really motivated to get it done. And that's just kind of part of over-preparing is it helps you to over-deliver. Remember, the name of the game is standing out, and that also is an opportunity for him to stand out. And then another theme, kind of the last thing I'm going to talk about, is being strategic. The grind that he was going through, it wasn't for naught. It was very strategic in the things that he decided to do. It was very intentional, and that's something I respected and kind of want to share because I think it's a very valuable lesson. There's a quote that he used which was, any edge, whether natural or engineered, is still an edge. And that's just kind of the mentality when it comes to any advantage. You know, if you have an advantage and you play it, it doesn't matter how it came. The reality is you have that in your back pocket and you can use it. So he created a lot of advantages for himself, and a lot of them were engineered. You know, he kind of put himself in this position to look good, but doesn't matter because the advantage came. And I think that's a really powerful point. Some things that he did that were really strategic, and he kind of goes along with over-preparing, is when they did have games, he studied the opposing coaches so that he could have a really meaningful conversation when he came across them on the field. And he wanted to stand out in his introduction so that he could build his professional network, because he knew that that was going to be important in the NFL, is to meet other coaches, because you never know where your next opportunity is going to come from. So that was one point where he was really strategic. And then another one was where he just decided to take the mundane task, the grunt work. He became indispensable because he did the things that no one else wanted to do. And in doing those consistently and meeting expectations over and over again, he got this reputation for being dependable, and he became an indispensable asset for the coaching staff. And that's something that he was able to ride until, basically, here's the moral of the story, he got his first paid position with the Kansas City Chiefs. And he goes into a little bit more about kind of the environment and how that opportunity changed over time. But the point is that he achieved his goal of getting into a professional organization in a paid position. And he actually went on to coach for 7 years. So he had a very successful coaching career. But that is just kind of touching on the highlights, like the tip of the iceberg of what's in this book, Call an Audible by Daron K Roberts. And I encourage you to read it. I encourage you to buy it. It's a book that speaks not only really interestingly into the back end of football, if you're a sports fan, but also just kind of the personal development and the persistence that he exhibited to get that opportunity and to pursue it and to make a name for himself in the organization was really inspiring and interesting to read. So I appreciate you listening. I do hope you read the book, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.